Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of our entitled People. In today's episode, I ruined Thanksgiving last year, and I'm still not sorry. You're turning violet. If people help you move, you owe them pizza and beer. This is man law. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. I ruined Thanksgiving last year, and I'm still not sorry. This story begins a number of years ago, with a particular dessert pastry my mother used to make. Pudding pie. I didn't know why this pie was so much better than regular pudding, but it was delicious, and I would actually look forward to that pie before Thanksgiving. That's how good the pie was. Sadly, like all good things, this pastry too came to an end. One year my mother decided that the pie was too fattening for her diet and swapped some ingredients around. She swore up and down it would taste no different. Spoiler alert, it tasted like nightmares feel. Immediate and extended family protested and requested the diet abomination be banished and the delicious pie brought back. Those pleas fell on deaf ears. Eventually Mom had enough and said she wasn't stopping anyone else from making the pie, but she wasn't doing it anymore. I assume she figured nobody else would have the gumption to actually seek out the recipe and make it. She thought wrong. In the very wee hours of Thanksgiving morning last year, I took up that gauntlet and prepared my pie in secret. I procrastinated until the literal last minute. Forgot the pie needs some time to set before it can get ate. I even managed to control myself and not just start eating the filling. I had one small taste to make sure I didn't forget an important ingredient. I showed up for Thanksgiving lunch at my aunt's house with my pie, and there was much rejoicing. Real sugar, actual tasty ingredients. I inhaled my meal in the interests of getting to pie sooner, and may or may not have overdone it a bit. I needed some time on my feet to make room for a slice of my pie, so I stepped outside to vape and chat with the smokers. I got numerous compliments on not screwing up instant pudding in a pie tin. The actual pie was more complicated than that, but I just took the ribbing. I make it inside and beeline for the dessert table. There's my mother standing near her imposter pie, which was missing a single piece, looking like she's king a lemon. Whether that was from the taste of her evil pie or the fact that mine was so popular is anyone's guess. I'm certainly not brave enough to ask. But there's nary a sign of my pie. I see apple pie, pumpkin pie, Toll House pie, but no pudding pie. Not even the pie tin. It couldn't be so delicious people actually ate the tin in the 10 minutes I was outside. So I address the room, ask where my pie is. Several people look at one of the couches and then away. What I saw made my blood boil. My sister is sitting on my aunt's new couch, the entire pie tin on her lap, massive spoon in one hand, a can of whipped cream in the other, and she is going to town on my pie. Which had been a little over half eaten by people who weren't complete savages before it fell in with bad company. I recall saying, "Really, sis?" Her head pops up and she looks at me like a deer in headlights. This woman, who is in her 30s mind you, has chocolate pudding and whipped cream smeared all over her face. She compounds the image of a toddler by speaking with her mouth full as she tries to justify herself. What? Mom said someone needed to take the pie away before she caved. Reason and consideration left me. I spent hours on that pie and didn't even get to eat a single piece. I won't claim what I did next was okay. All I will say is I have yet to regret doing what I did, and I honestly can't think of any other way I could have responded. I don't think I'm the hero of this tale, all I can say is I'm not the only villain. I snorted like a little piggy. Twice. I'm not sure when the rest of the room quieted down and watched our little showdown. All I can say is it was silent when I oinked, and everyone heard it. It took a little while for what happened to actually percolate into her brain, but once my sister realized, she just stood up, sending the pie onto the floor with the pudding part face down, and flung what was in her hands away so she could cover her face and start sobbing. She sprinted to the bathroom and slammed the door shut. Then all hell broke loose and my extended family went to war with each other. A small but vocal section of the family started berating me for doing that to my sister, neither of us are pixies, and the larger portion arguing with the smaller because who just grabs an entire pie and eats it like that. I just grabbed some napkins and did the best I could to get most of my pie out of my aunt's brand new carpet. She'd hosted Thanksgiving that year because her house had been completely remodeled with fresh paint on the walls and a brand spanking new interior. I gave my aunt a hug and apologized for the mess before I left with an otherwise Irish goodbye. She didn't say anything then, but I've spoken with my aunt since and she said she doesn't blame me. My parents actually paid for the carpet to get steam cleaned because there was pudding everywhere, and it was a light-colored carpet. Why my parents paid and not my sister who works a full-time job and is otherwise allegedly a fully functional adult? Well, that's an excellent question. That's the story of how I ruined Thanksgiving last year. I hope you won't judge me too harshly. You're turning violet, Violet. Yay, day before Thanksgiving at the grocery store. As we were heading down to spend Thanksgiving with family, but had to pick up a few items as someone else already brought the items we were supposed to bring. Not the Mart of Walls for once, but strictly a grocery store. I'm in line after what appeared to be a single mom of 3 children. A possible 2-year-old and twin babies. Adorable babies and a well-behaved though curious little girl. The babies are buckled into car seats and the mom is carrying a third one. The mom is buying essentials, not Thanksgiving stuff, but baby stuff and very inexpensive, but all clearly needed supplies. She swipes her EBT card and it's declined. She checks her balance on her phone and says she needs to put some stuff back. I cut in and say, nah, I got you, tomorrow is Thanksgiving and I've been in your position, kind of. I pay for her stuff, roughly $90, and tell her I have Thanksgiving food as well in my car as someone else has already brought the items I was supposed to bring, and it's all cooked and ready, I'll just get the dishes back at a later date. She's grateful but declines the offer for the extra. I explained that it's a pre-cooked roast, I don't eat pork, and a turkey as well as stuffing and a few other things. She still declines. "I'll take it," comes a loud voice behind us. I turn around and see an already bursting at the seams cow on a cart in a huge purple outfit. My immediate thought was Violet from Willy Wonka grew up, got old, and was never squeezed. An absolute plum of a woman that would be at home in the hippocampus exhibit of any zoo, in fact she'd be the alpha. Or maybe a future star if my 600 pounds life. "What?" I ask. Violet again exclaims she would be happy to take it if I'm just going to give it away to a junkie anyway. The immediate area goes dead quiet. I say, WTF, rude. You don't deserve the food or clearly need the food, Violet. Violet asked what I meant by that and that her name isn't Violet. I explained from my observation single mom has no signs of drug use, her kids are clean and well behaved, she is clean and fairly dressed, the items she was buying are clearly necessary items and nothing for herself or extravagant. While you, madam, I drew out the word madam, seem to be overly dressed, with gaudy costume jewelry, have nothing but wine and junk food in your basket and seem to be pushing the weight limit on that Zorro Select shopping cart. Fun fact: Zorro Select is the make and model of electric shopping carts used at Walmart and other stores, their weight limit is 500 pounds. "Excuse me," she says and starts to say more, but I cut her off. "Nope, madam, there's no excuse for you, please do better." I turn around making a face begging for Violet to say more and finish checking out the few items I was getting and make eye contact with the cashier. She looks embarrassed. Like wide eyes, mouth slightly open, clearly disappointed in the entire situation and desperate to not look at Violet. I finish and apologize on behalf of the madam, also, no one enjoys being called madam. I grab my things and head out. Outside I see the single mom crying as a car pulls away. I ask what's wrong and she explained the Uber driver wouldn't take them because no one was allowed to sit up front, and even though she had 3 car seats, they refused to give her a ride. She's super embarrassed, upset, and overwhelmed as she's sobbing. I don't know exactly how to react in this situation, but I say, "Don't worry, I can help. I'm driving my wife's Mazda 5 and have plenty of room." She gives me a look like I must be Jack the Ripper or something, first paying for her items and then offering a ride. She asked what's the catch, why am I being nice, and she can't just ride with a stranger with her kids. I reply, "Well, I've been in really rough spots, and you look to be at the end of your rope. The catch is you take my extra food, enjoy the food as it should last a very long time." I then jokingly acknowledge that the entire business model of Uber is about riding with strangers. She cheers up a little but is clearly still on the fence. I say, "Look, I'm parked right down this aisle, my wife and oldest son are there, we have enough room for her car seats and herself. It's truly no problem helping as we have a 2-hour drive ahead of us anyway." She agrees and we start heading to my van while making small talk as the parking lot was packed. We get to my family and van and she lets out a little laugh. I ask what's up. She says, "Of course you have a white van." I laugh and say, "Ouch, funny but ouch." We drop her and her kids off at some apartments. My wife offers to help bring in the kiddos and I offer to bring the food. We all walk in and I give her all the food including my extras. She breaks down crying about how rough her situation is, and then she just moved here from California to be with her kid's father only to find out he's not interested. My wife and her exchange numbers, and we go our separate ways. My wife asked WTF that was about. I say, 3 reasons. I explain what happened in the store in more detail. I talked about when our second son was new, we were buying stuff, and the lady behind us paid for it. THRN rather sheepishly I explain that single mom makes really good jewelry, the hemp and bead kind, and that now you can get her to teach you, and then you teach me. She rolled her eyes and said, "Yeah, you failed if you thought that was what normal people do. If people help you move, you owe them pizza and beer. This is man law." Apologies, this is longer than intended. I'm not sure where to cut it, but I tried to format it for easier reading. Some years back, a coworker asked me and a few others if we could help his younger brother move. Al was cool, and we all owed him a favor. We all said yes, even though we hadn't met his brother. We were all a bit trepidatious, as Al was forever sharing stories about his lazy, spoiled young brother. I mean, stuff like throwing their PS3 because it wasn't his turn to play kind of stuff. Little brother, Nicky, was actually moving back home after a failed first attempt at living on his own, at 24. The move was planned for that weekend, for days away. One of us just mentioned getting fed, and we all generally agreed a couple of pizzas, and a 12-pack was payment enough, the standard. Al was a cool dude, we were happy to do it. Saturday came, and we showed up at Nicky's app with 2 pickups, 1 SUV and a hatchback. Imagine our surprise when Nicky had almost nothing packed, but a stack of flat-pack U-Haul boxes on the porch. Al was pissed, apparently he'd told Nicky several times to have *T ready for us. Nick had instead spent all of his time playing Madden NFL or whatever. With us coworkers standing around in the living room, Al chastised Nicky for his lack of progress, snapping, "I told you 3 times to have *T ready, Nicky." WTF? Nicky's response? "I know I said I'd do it, but last night I figured it'd be easier and faster if we all chipped in." After some arguing, it was obvious the only way to get this done was to just do it. A redneck coworker, Bubba, smiled and said, "Well, we'll haul M over to your folks for you, all you got to do it fill M." He told everyone to grab a box and open it up. Soon there were 6 open boxes ready for filling. Nick looked back and forth at the boxes and said maybe if we all filled 1 box apiece, but Bubba shut him down. "We're not here to pack your things, we're here to move them. That's why they call them movers, kid. Tell you what, you start filling boxes, we'll start with the furniture." We all started grabbing furniture. Couch/chairs/bed went into the pickups, smaller stuff like bureaus, barbecue grill, and TV went into the SUV and hatchback. Within 10 to 15 minutes, we were full and Nikki had one box half full. Mom/Dad's house was 15 to 20 minutes away, and all the furniture was going in the garage, so unloading was quick. 45 minutes later at the apartment, Nikki had 2 boxes full. We only had one more full load of furniture on the second round. We broke down and loaded his kitchenware for him, for 2 more boxes, 2 to go. Bubba said to Nikki, "We'll bring these over to your mama's house. You can fit those last 2 boxes in AL's SUV, and I guess we'll see you there." "What kind of pizza were you going to order?" Nikki, well, I have a lot of moving costs, and I was thinking we could all chip in on the pizza. Bubba, well, that ain't happening. Man helps you move, you buy him some pizza and beer. That's man law right there, son. We moved you, you're gonna feed us and buy us some beers. Nick, well, I don't really have enough. Bubba, maybe we'll just leave the rest of these boxes here then. Y'all want to take that stuff out the trucks and put it back inside? Nicky threw a minor fit, then went outside and called Mama. He came back inside and said, "You can bring the rest of the stuff to my folks. My mom said she'd take care of it." 25 minutes later, we all puled up to Mama's house, and we went inside as a group. Bubba said, "Last load, ma'am, we all came here with the promise of pizza and beer." Nick said it was coming? Mama said, "Well, I can't help with that, but I warmed up some Thanksgiving leftovers, you all are going to have to make do." Dad's got some beer in the garage cooler, help yourself. A credit to Al, although he'd been quiet this whole time, he finally flipped his sh*t. Ma, these guys took off their entire Saturday to help Nikki move. None of them even know him. Nikki agreed to have everything ready, but hasn't packed *King box. He agreed to pizza and beer, and now is not even going to pay for that. "We don't want your leftovers, we want pizza and beer." Mama, he got laid off from work, actually fired, of course. How can he afford 1,000,000 pizzas? Al, pizza and beer is a whole *CK of a lot cheaper than hiring a mover. After a few minutes of yelling, Dad came in, that look on his face, asking what the problem was. Mama yelled that these guys moved a few boxes for Nikki and want pizza, but Nikki got laid off, lol, and can't afford it. I offered to give them your beer and feed them with what I have left over from Thanksgiving, but apparently, it's not good enough for them. Al responded with some yelling himself, mostly about he agreed to help Nikki only if Nikki would feed/beer his friends, and he always does this *T and always gets away with it. Tempers were rising. Bubba saved the day. "Mr. Dad, Al is a great help to all of us down at the dock, where we worked. We're doing this for free because we all owe Al a favor or 3. But we were promised pizza and beer. Now we got half of Nikki's stuff loaded up outside. If there's not pizza/beer on its way, we're happy to bring this stuff back to Nikki's and put it back where we got it. We'll replace the first load too. There's movers in town, be happy to take the job, if you're willing to pay." "Dad, the hell you will, I ain't paying for movers. How many pizzas you want? I got Bud and Bud Light in the garage, is that okay?" Bud is shitty beer, but we were happy for the victory, and agreed to the beer. A quick poll showed 3 pizzas was ample. All were fine with a couple of pepperonis, but Mama started screeching about black olives, coincidentally her and Nikki's favorite topping. 30 minutes later, we were all in the garage, eating a couple of pepperoni pizzas and drinking Dad's Budweiser out of the garage cooler, while Nikki and Mom shared a black olive pizza in the kitchen. He tried to come out to the garage a few times to hang, but was smart enough to catch the vibe.